Welcome to SoCal Sports Report's 80th podcast. We are streaming live on YouTube, and I'm thankful to Vinny for filling in last week, taking the hosting position and sitting in the captain's chair. Also, I want to thank Charlie Wright for being here last week. He was tremendous, a lot of good insight. Very interesting work that he does, and he's a local resident, so perhaps we can get him back in here sometime soon. I really enjoyed what Charlie added to the show. With me tonight, John Adams and Jake Formansky. We're going to dig right into the NFL draft to start with. Look at what the Rams and the Chargers came up with, how that fits into their rosters, and what other holes they might still have as the preseason moves on. Angels' highly touted Griffith Canning was very impressive last night. We'll talk about that. I think this guy's going to be a top of the order starter here, maybe as soon as next year. We'll also look at the division races, the NL West and AL West. Very close. All the races are very close. I mean, Angels in last place, but 5 games out. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, it doesn't matter what position it is you're in. It's more of how many lengths you are behind the leader. So we'll take a look at that. Clippers had a successful season. We'll take a look at what might foresee come in the future for them. They should be able to hopefully parlay that into a good off season. Take a look at the Lakers. What are they waiting for? I mean, Ty Lue is probably going to get the job. I don't know what the holdup is. Take a look at the NBA, the NHL playoffs, which have been very, very, very competitive. And I'll tell you what, home court and home ice don't seem to mean much in these playoffs. Also, the 2 best professional soccer teams in the MLS right here in SoCal with the LAFC and the Galaxy. We'll look at those schedules. Also, the Bruins hired a coach to replace Jorge Saldito as their soccer coach, who got caught up in the all that nationwide college admissions problem. And the Derby. We'll look at the Kentucky Derby. Bob Baffert, a local trainer with 3 entries, and we'll get our experts' view on that. So let's start with the NFL draft. Jake, what did you think of the how the Rams went about it, and a little bit of insight on some of their picks?
I thought the Rams did a decent job. I personally think this draft for both the Rams and the Chargers, I mean, the Chargers, I think, won the draft if you're going to consider it in the SoCal region, but I think with the Rams, I think they're kind of right now a little bit of a snake in the grass, kind of waiting for the free agent market to kind of open up, because they didn't really get. I just felt like this draft there was a lot of wow factors, and there were some picks where you're just kind of like, okay, do we really need a guy in that particular position? But I think with the Rams, I think that they went to the Super Bowl last year, so there's really not too much that they got to change up, but. I think free agency is kind of going to be the key for them going in. Just because, the draft was, I think I was reading on some, they got a B+ on some of the mock drafts that I saw. So, what does that tell you? But I think a lot of teams in the NFL right now are kind of just waiting for free agency.
I liked their first pick, Taylor Rapp. Mm-hmm. They lost, Waddle and Johnson in the secondary, so that's going to give them some bench strength and a little bit of beef up that position a little bit. What about you, John?
Well, it was for the Rams. It was a day of first couple days of just trading back and forth. Going up and down and kind of maneuvering to where they could be. And more or less the way that I looked at their whole draft was, let's work towards the future and depth, right? So you're absolutely right. You got Weddle and Johnson and this kid, can kind of fill some roles in special teams and working his way into and working under some seasoned veterans. The Darrell Henderson picked at 70, which is the kid from Memphis who's a running back. He's got a lot of speed. He's an outside zone runner. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's very explosive. They did keep Malcolm Brown on. So something's fishy about Gurley's knee. I don't know how much he's 100%, or they've said, hey, look at this kid's been banged up the last year, and we're gonna maybe kind of split some time a little bit more and get him some more help, to try to, it is a long season, and these guys you're asking a guy to run into a bunch of linebackers and defensive tackles. So that was unique. It was unique, and they had said this kid Henderson's got a lot of upside. So that was a little bit of a fishy, that kind of brought my attention to I wonder, you're taking this guy as your second pick. You must need some they let a couple guys go too in the running backs. And then the other stuff is stuff for, I think, the future, right? So you got the kid David Long from Michigan. He's the kind of, how long are you going to have Talib? How long are you going to have Peters? I mean, Peters really didn't do his, he didn't have a great year last year, but, he got hurt.
Is Talib in the final year of his
right, exactly. So, is this a kid for the future? Because maybe you lose one or you lose two, and then the Bobby Evans pick at the Oklahoma tackle is he the replacement for the Whitworth, and so I just kind of saw it more as a lot of developmental players, for the future, and like you said, I think they did an okay job. I think they picked guys that they needed in those positions that to kind of help their depth, and look at it. It's now that I'm looking at it, it's like the Rams are known for their offense, and now the Chargers are going to be known for their defense. You know what I mean? So, I think they went and got help where they needed down the road. Because of free agency, they might lose these guys, right? So
because the 49ers too, I mean, they're still in a rebuilding mode. I mean, they're going to be better obviously with Garoppolo coming back, but I mean, it's still the Rams division to still lose.
And Seattle's going to be down probably this year.
The Cardinals are going to be down.
Right.
So I mean, the picks are nice for 2 years down the road to see what these guys can do. When it comes that time.
And the other kids, the Edwards kid from Wisconsin. Again, you don't know if how much he's really going to get. He's a pretty good run blocker. I don't think he's a very good pass blocking guy. And then the Dakota Allen and the Mick Scotts and the Greg Gaines, the pick for the defensive tackle. He's a really good run stopper. The kid they got last. I don't know what number it was, but he's from Washington, and they say he's pretty good on the run defense. I noticed that that was probably somebody they needed to pick up, because I don't think I don't know what the update is with Dominican Sue and if he's gonna come back. If I'm him, look at you're not a wow factor anymore, and if you get the number you can from them, just stay there, right? Because you're gonna look great next to Donald. So just. But he might chase money, but that's the So again, I thought it was just they just needed they filled roles for depth, and that's probably with what they had to choose from. I think they did an okay job.
I think it was a smart draft. Now, that Henderson, by the way, he had 31 touchdowns in 3 years at Memphis, so he can find the end zone. But like you say, I agree. I mean, they we're not going to say it, but they've, like you said, Jake, they've got it's their division to lose. So they did add depth, and they did a lot of work for the future because they're not getting any younger, and they're in a luxurious position where they can afford to do that because they are so talented and because the division's so weak. So they can afford to go for the younger guys and look towards the future. I like their draft. I liked it a lot. I thought they, like you say, they added depth. They got young. So. What about the Chargers, John?
I think it's two good drafts in a row.
Yeah.
and I'm going to give them a B plus on their draft. I'm very impressed with Tom Telesco and how he does it, and I think he just really listens to his coaches, and especially with Gus Bradley, right, and what he needs to get what he needs out of his defense. I think the defense just got faster. I think the defense just got stronger, and if this kid Tilly can come out and help, the guys on the end, the Bosas and Ingrams, and that it could be really, really good. Now Perryman stays healthy on the inside, but I thought it was a good first 2 picks. Mm-hmm. I question a little bit about the middle picks because I thought actually they could have got those guys a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then I think they stole a guy at 242. But the kid Tilly he's big, he's athletic. I think he's like 6'6". I've heard nothing but great things about him being more of a pass defender than he is more of a run defender. Just a big body in the middle that's going to help those guys on the out. The kid from Delaware, the safety, Adderley is he could have gone in the first round, and we got him in the second round. So, it's just another
good genes there.
Yeah, good Bradley pick. Pick up there. Saw exactly. He's explosive. The good thing about it is he plays a lot of free safety, so it's going to allow James to kind of float, and go. And I think that's going to help the Chargers tremendously. I thought that was great. Now, where they kind of went a little weird on me is the kid Pipkins from Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
That's your third pick, and he's 6'6", 309, and he wowed you at the East-West Shrine game. I mean, that's where he wowed you at. You could have got that at 250. What's funny is when I started doing my research on the guy, nobody had anything on the guy. No. So I just think we could have got him way later. The kid from Notre Dame, the linebacker, Drew Tranquil. Mm-hmm. He came in to Notre Dame as a safety, and they bulked him up and moved him to outside linebacker. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be able to help us tremendously on special teams right off the bat.
Oh yeah,
he's fast. The scary thing, he's injury prone. Yeah. He's had 2 ACL injuries, and so that scares me a little bit. I think they need to just work him in and not give him a big load. But I think he could help us in the outside linebacker position. But I think for sure to help him in special teams because we lost a couple guys that were good in special teams. The kid Easton Stick. So this is an interesting one. He's the QB from North Dakota State. Mm-hmm. What did he do? He just filled Carson Wentz's shoes and won 2 out of 3 national championships. They said he was the number 1 quarterback at the second tier. Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't too impressed with the first tier, right? No. But if we're going to get him as our 3rd quarterback or 4th quarterback, and he's a kid that's just going to soak up a lot of information and sit back and learn. Well, Carson Wentz has come out and been a hell of a quarterback for Philly, right? The one thing that was pretty impressive is I think he was one of the fastest quarterbacks. He ran a 4.62 40, which is pretty athletic for a quarterback. So the steal of the draft was, I thought, Cortez Broughton from Cincinnati. He's a defensive tackle, and at 242, all I've heard is that I couldn't believe the guy went that far. Mm-hmm. And he's done he's had just huge praise in the run defense, and if that's going to be a guy that we can fill in, and maybe Tilly's more of your pass rusher, and this guy's more of your run defense guy, I've heard nothing but they're actually talking about this guy could have been the 3rd pick overall for them, and not picking a kid from Sioux Falls. They're getting him at 242. I heard was just an absolute steal.
17 and a half tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. So he gets into the backfield and he gets his job done. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
was-
I think the defense just got better. I think it got faster, and I am a believer that defense wins championships, right? So, and look at the league now, right? So Kansas City's good, but Tyreek Hill is going to be a big loss.
Yep.
Oakland just got better, right? Oakland's, I don't know if it's this year or next year, and I don't know what the situation is with Carr, right, and that whole deal. But it was funny. It's almost like every time I watched it, I'm like, oh, the Raiders just took our guy. Oh, the Raiders just took our guy, right? They were always like right in front of us. And I don't know. Denver's probably going to be on the downside a little bit, but I think the AFC West is going to be a strong one. Where, like you guys discussed, the Rams are in a weaker division,
Oh, yeah.
and I think the AFC West it's a strong one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I thought my team did a great job, and hopefully we can stuff them on defense and be able to work the ball in the end zone on offense. So,
yeah, I think it was very. If you're a Charger fan, you got to be pretty encouraged. I
and
mean,
it's
it
two
was
in a row too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
two great. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that GM has come in there and shaken him up a little bit.
Yeah,
he's done a great.
yeah.
Like you say, I think he's a listener,
hmm
and he's not afraid to admit that somebody might have a better idea than he has, and he takes all that information into consideration.
Wish the Angels GM was a listener.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on the draft?
Yeah. I thought the unique thing about that draft, the last, what do they call it? The last pick of the draft.
Mr. Irrelevant?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, was the only pick from UCLA
UCLA,
football.
that's right.
And the tight end.
Yeah.
So that was
Wilson?
kind of interesting. Yeah. So
That's right.
he was the only UCLA Bruin I think that was picked in the draft, and
He
he was
was.
the last one. Yeah. So so that's about it. And
It's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, 3 Clemson guys defensive guys go in the top 15 or something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that's crazy what's going on there. So SEC, I think they broke a record. Most kids ever
Yeah.
drafted in 1 year.
Not surprising.
Not
yeah,
surprising.
no, it's not. Nope.
All right, let's get to Griffin Canning and his debut last night, which I thought was very, very impressive. Maybe some people were had mixed emotions. It was first time through the lineup. He was lights out. 12 pitches in the first inning, 3 strikeouts in the second inning. Second time around, they figured him out a little bit. But still, for your first start, with all the butterflies and the hometown boy and, all the adrenaline, I thought it was a very, very respectable outing. 4 1/3 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts and a walk.
Mhm.
82 pitches.
Yeah.
That was a very, very, very encouraging
Yeah.
debut.
And knock on wood, he stays healthy. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
when's,
other thing.
when's he scheduled for his first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
With
exactly.
Tommy John.
No, I mean, I thought he looked great. I was actually a little shocked, to be honest with you, that he was going to get called up this early because everything you're reading about, they were kind of protecting him, and like he was still in instructs last month.
Right.
So he didn't go to Salt Lake until 2-3 weeks ago. So it was kind of like then you saw something where it's like, oh, he's going to make a scheduled start. So I was happy for him because one, local kid, and two, I mean, we need the arms. I mean, the Angels desperately need the arms right now. I mean, they're kind of, piecing it together, but I just hope it's not one of those things where, we call him up, he has a couple starts, and we send him right back down. It's like, what, if he's producing, just keep him. Let's just see, how far we can ride him for. Because, I mean, to go 4 1/3 innings, against a, good Toronto Blue Jay team, they got some pop. I thought that was, pretty good for him.
Yeah,
I think they'll hold him for one more start, just kind of see what he'll do against another team. I was telling John, I thought it was kind of funny. You could tell that he was loving where he was and loving being able to pitch in the bigs. I want to say it was in the 3rd inning with 2 outs. He's standing with his glove on.
Mm-hmm.
He's standing in the dugout with his glove on. And they're still out, so we're still hitting. The Angels are still hitting. He's like, I'm going out again, right? Like, I'm sitting there going, you're a pitcher, sit down. Like,
Yeah.
Rest your arms, sit down, rest your legs, like do whatever needs to be. But he's sitting there going with his glove on his hand, like ready to go. And
He was pumped.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a great. I'm like, oh my god, this is a little leaguer. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy's you still think he's in Little League. But again, is he our next Walker Bueller? I don't know. It was very impressive. I think somebody this young is, tread lightly a little bit with this, and you don't want to see a kid fail. So if you start to see something, not going his direction, maybe send him down and just get him some more innings, along with more, working on confidence a little bit more. But yeah, again, last night was impressive. It's the first time in my life I'm looking at an Angels system, and I'm looking at it going, you've got now, quote, openers, and then you have closers.
Another one tonight.
And it's just so weird.
Yeah,
and I mean, is this how you're looking at your scouts? Look at a guy, go, that guy would be a great opener, and that guy would be a great closer, and that guy's a good mid reliever, and oh, by the way, this is a good starter, but don't bring him in till the second inning. Is all analytics saying this? I mean, I don't know what is this because you want your starter to get to the sixth inning? Is this why they're doing this?
Yeah, sure. Or instead of pitching 1 through 5, you pitch 2 through 6.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't get it. Is it? Or are they doing something where they're bringing up an opener because this guy's numbers is better against the first 3 to 4 guys?
Somebody that they think might be good through the
So
lineup.
they bring in a guy they bring in the guy that's throwing 95 to 97 or whatever, and you're like, okay, so these guys aren't good fastball or they're not good off-speed hitters, or I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know how the numbers. I mean, and then the coach has to go over there and go, oh, by the way, we have an opener, but really their starter is Skaggs, and he'll be coming in the second, and you got to let them know that, or do you just say our opener is?
I forgot. I heard coming in. I can't remember who it is now. I know Pena's coming in the second inning. Felix Pena. I forgot who the.
So there's 2 openers then.
No, he's coming in this. Yeah, but he's.
So there's an opener, and then there's a guy in the second, and then our starter comes in the third. I mean, it's a buffet table, isn't it?
Is.
Yeah.
No, what do you have to?
What do you call it? What do you guys call it? Johnny.
Johnny committee.
Yeah.
Johnny Holstaff.
Johnny Holstaff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's one thing where I think
it's like they grab the hat and they're like, "You're starting, and you come in the second."
Seriously,
pick a
it's
number.
almost
right.
Seriously.
Seriously.
I got the 7th.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing where I think analytics is going a little too.
It's getting
far.
a little weird.
It's getting a little weird because it's like there's no flow to a game anymore. I feel like especially because starters are such creatures of habit. They want to kind of have their own rhythm and feel of a game.
Right.
And then you're going to tell a guy like he might not be coming until the 3rd inning. For some guys,
right.
It's like
so as
that.
a pitching, I mean, you look at a guy and go, okay, you need to prep and get mental. You're coming in the 3rd.
So that changes everything.
Okay. Well, for how long? Hopefully you finish off the game.
Yeah.
But if not, we got Bob over here that's going to come in right behind you, Bedrosian, or whoever it is. Like, it's just as a starter.
Yeah.
Like how these starting pitchers prep. They go out and they get the rubber bands going and they do their long toss and they do all the kind of stuff that preps them to go into the bullpen, get repped, and ready to go. Well, how do they prep? I mean, it's really got to be a little weird, right?
Do you think you can ever do an opener with a Zach Greinke? You can never do something like that
No.
with him. I mean, that guy's getting to the field at 1 o'clock doing his bands and long toss by 2:30.
Trevor Bauer would be another guy,
That's
right?
where it's like,
I'm
not a fan of it. And I hope it's not.
Look,
trending in that direction.
I'll become a fan if you can tell me the statistics all work and you've seen success with it, which they kind of have, But like you, and get me. Let me just throw this on the table. Does that mean that you have to have a bigger bullpen when it comes to the amount of pitchers that you want to have on your staff, and then your regular players are your infielders and outfielders, that goes down a little bit, so you could have, 20 guys out in the bullpen. I don't even know what. And then they increase the pitchers and lower the regular player? I don't know how that goes.
Or you go into where you're saving your bullpen a little bit, so where you're having guys going 1-1-1, every couple days to kind of keep them fresh and loose.
Like almost throwing a bullpen.
Almost throwing a bullpen, just so because maybe Bedrosian might not see the mound for 2 games, so you're just kind of hoping he stays loose.
But there's not a number amount of pitchers by rule you can carry on a staff. You could have the whole entire.
No.
Okay, gotcha. All
I'd love to see the ERAs combined of openers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How successful, how good have they been?
I would say it's probably in the 3, if I had to guess. I mean, it's been going well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays started it
they
last
started
year,
it.
and
Is that who? That's it. They were.
and it's looked good.
And how's that staff doing right
They-
now?
They had an
best
excuse.
in
Yeah,
baseball,
yeah, new
yeah.
pitchers.
Well, that's what's so funny is Bumgarner said that in the offseason. He goes, if you ever make me an opener, I'm done. I will retire.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why it's like with some teams, I don't think that could ever work.
Especially if you got a Kershaw or something.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Greinke.
No way.
Yeah.
This Angels
Back in your day, you see. Now this would be a good one. You're going to get a kick out of this. How would you like to be able to go to Nolan Ryan and go, "Hey, I'm going to have an opener start for you," and he'd say like, "Okay, you're trading me."
Yeah.
Like there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I was out there when he, threw 150.
Right. Exactly. You don't need an
Yeah,
opener.
maybe
I'm going to go 130
And
pitches.
then would have 4 days off and then go back and pitch again.
Exactly.
Talking about the Angel pitching staff a little bit, I know we don't want to look at next year already, but you got to think about Canning, if does what he's capable of
Ohtani,
doing. Ohtani, and you got
Skaggs,
and Haney.
Haney, if he
There's-
can ever,
there's-
but he can ever stay
And
healthy.
Skaggs, too.
Yeah, yeah, and then
There's 4 solid guys.
well, then
Who's the other guy, Alvarez?
No, you got the
Ramirez?
Ramirez, who's coming out of Tommy John too, right?
Right.
And then you got Tropiano's coming out of Tommy John as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
It's just a big
So,
Tommy John bus.
yeah.
Just got to keep them all healthy.
And real quick, too, I mean, Harvey, besides him being a human rain delay for 3 innings, has actually looked okay.
Yeah.
Velocity-wise, you're going like, that might be a guy to where if, you go into next year kind of going...
Cahill's got better numbers than Harvey does,
Yeah,
but
Cahill, too.
Yeah.
So it's where it's kind of like, let's just kind of promote these guys, see what can happen.
Right.
Maybe trade them if they do well at the deadline, or if not, bring them back for another
well,
1
I'm not
deal.
bringing Harvey back for $11 million again.
No,
I mean,
no,
he's
no,
not.
yeah, that you can't.
But a guy like Cahill, I could
Yeah.
see him being like, geez, Cahill. If you look at this right, and you're saying, okay, Ohtani's only going to pitch Sundays, probably right, because you want him to hit, right? But maybe he is quote your ace. Let's just say, right? I mean, Cahill's a good 3 or 4 guy. He really is a good 3-4 guy, right? But the problem is without Ohtani, the whole staff is about a 3-4 guy, right? Yeah. So
Exactly.
So I mean, by bringing in an opener for that starter, does that 3 guy become a 2 guy now?
Pretty
Is
much,
that
yeah, he's almost an ace.
because it gets him through the first
Yeah,
inning, right?
Exactly.
So
Well, Vinny's got to be pretty happy. His boy Verdugo's getting a lot of playing time now that Pollock is down with
Shocker.
injury.
and that's my rookie of the year pick.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a good pick.
He's getting a lot of play, and he's doing well. He's producing. I don't know what I think. Last I saw, he was 333 somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting a lot of action, and I'm sorry to say that Dave Roberts, who promised during the preseason that there would be no movable parts in the Dodger lineup, is almost gone insane. I looked the other night. Taylor was playing left field, and
Yeah.
Hernandez was playing center one day, and Verdugo looks very good. He looks like the real deal.
I mean, Bellinger is just on
Oh,
a
Bellinger's-
tear.
Bellinger's.
I mean, he's on a
He's
tear.
unconscious.
I mean, it's stupid. I mean, he's throwing the bat at the ball right now. Sometimes I'm finding ways to
Yeah,
get hits, and
exactly.
and I mean, if you can get that whole outfield, I mean, now Muncie's starting to hit the ball a little bit better, but I mean, Barnes is even producing as a catcher
Barnes.
at the plate. But I tell you, they're that whole offense is flowing in a strong direction.
Yeah. Well, like the Rams, I think that's their division to lose.
And they're loving it that they rested Kershaw as long as they wanted
Yeah.
to rest him, right?
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, we'll bring him back. We don't have to rush him, right?
Right.
And that was a good call by them. And obviously their offense held their own and are able to give him that time of where they're not desperate to like, oh, we better put him out there for a
not,
win.
getting him with 3 days rest and all that stuff. Yeah. They don't have to worry about that anymore.
Especially, too, I mean, there's already talks about them landing Trevor Bauer at the deadline.
Oh, really?
So can you imagine if that offense keeps going, then you add a right-hander like Trevor Bauer in the mix? I mean, that's
Yeah.
a guaranteed World Series right there.
Wow. I didn't know that.
That's already kind of the rumors going
really,
around.
UCLA kid.
Yep.
And I like a lot of the divisions are very close,
Mm-hmm.
especially the West, National League and American League. Dodgers are 2 up, and I think the Giants are 7 back in the cellar, and San Diego and Arizona are 2 back, and
Yeah,
Colorado's
Arizona
about
won today,
3.
yeah.
And then the same thing in the West. Angels are actually tied with Oakland, percentage points behind. But San Seattle's what, 2, and Texas is 3, or something.
Yeah, the
like
Mariners are 1 game back
One
on
game.
Houston. And then the Rangers are 3.5, and then the Angels and the Athletics are 5 and 5.5. Yeah,
that's nice.
So, but again, where do we have the Angels? 500, and
500, yeah.
you know they'll probably work their way to being 500. You know, just you got to get Calhoun to start hitting the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor guy. You know, Trout's coming up, and he's still having a great year, and he's got nobody to drive in. You know, and
when you got Simmons as your 4 hitter,
yeah,
That's
that's
weak.
tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love the kid David Fletcher. I do love the
I
new
like him
little
a
second
lot.
baseman coming up. Refugio, or I forget how his name.
Yeah.
But that kid's a little scrappy little guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I
like him.
kind of I think right now if I'm going to have a starting, I'd put that kid at second base. I put Fletcher at third.
Exactly.
Now you're losing power out of Fletcher at third, but the kid makes things happen,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
he's going to dink it or hit it or whatever he can do, right?
Because Cozart hasn't done anything.
No, he's been terrible, right?
I don't
That's
have
been
to
a
ever see
bust.
him again.
Yeah, you know.
Cozart and Justin Bauer, I don't ever need to see again.
Yeah.
Bauer, not only
You
is
mean Bohr?
Bohr,
Yeah.
not only is he a liability,
He's a thug.
He's mentally.
Oh, and some of the
Mentally.
decisions he's done at the plate has just been. I mean, you got a man on first with 1 out, and you hit a pop fly straight up in the air, and you start walking towards the dugout,
Yeah. Oh, that's.
With
and they
one
just
out.
let it drop, and then they
Yeah.
turn 2. I mean, if I'm Osmus, how do I not stare him all the way into the dugout and go,
What are
"You're
you
a
doing?"
major league
Yeah.
baseball player. Act like it."
Yeah.
I mean, that it was just,
Well, then
and then he gets thrown out at second base like 2 weeks before that, and he gets up and starts walking away, and the guy tags him. He's like, he's out. He goes, "I was safe."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, like
Well, I'll tell you one thing: when they activate Ohtani, he better be the guy that goes.
Oh, I hope. Yeah.
well, I mean, okay, so you do that, okay. So who's the backup first baseman? Can Cozart, can he play at first base, or what do you do there? Or is there somebody in the minors? I haven't even looked to see.
Matt Theus.
Not this.
Matt Theus.
Okay.
He should have been up. I think probably 2 years ago. I thought he should have been kind of that, grooming him.
I know they
Don't
brought.
forget
I
Pujols.
thought
Don't forget Pujols.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Oh gosh.
the $30 million.
Yeah.
The speedster. But I mean, yeah, I mean, who's going to help Pujols? You know what I mean? He can't play every day. So I agree with you. When Ohtani does come up, I think you got to get rid of this guy, release him. But you got to bring somebody up, right?
I think-
because I know they brought Ward up, right? And then
Ward hasn't-
he made like 4 errors in one game, and that's not going to be your answer at third base.
No.
So
And Theus can also play third and first.
Oh,
he
he
got
can.
drafted as a third baseman, then they moved him over to first. So that's when kind of listen to Angels talk after games and stuff. They've been, everyone keeps calling in and asking like, oh, when's this Theus kid coming up? And he's just been tearing it up, but they've just been kind of holding him, just kind of waiting to see what happens. But I think you're right. I think once Ohtani comes up, I think he'll come up and they'll either designate Cozart or Bohr.
look,
for
if
assignment.
you're going to be a 500 ball club, right? Or you kind of notice that. Bring them up,
Yeah, just
get
bring
them
'em up.
experience, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And look, if they don't do what you think, you send them right back down. Go grab some more confidence, bring them back up again. But, or I'd start asking some guys to learn how to play first base. Who I have no idea.
Yeah.
And the
but-
same thing goes for Calhoun. What
I'm
happens
so disappointed
when
in him.
Odell comes back from his hamstring? I think you got to bring him up just to see what
Yeah.
because that's going to be your outfield in the
I
future.
mean, Trout told him to draft the kid.
Yeah.
and he can't stop talking about this kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're going to be in the rebuilding stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get these kids up, right? Look at what the Cubs did. They won the World Series, and their whole entire infield was making $400,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go spend your money on these pitchers, and if these kids can hold their own, let them hold their own.
Well, Calhoun had a bad year 2 years ago, and I thought, well, maybe that's just. But he started out the same this year, and he hasn't gotten any better.
He gets to play because of his defense, right?
That's it. His arm, his defense.
It's kind of reminds me of Jock Peterson last year,
Yeah.
right? He got to play because of his defense, and he was hitting
Right.
terrible.
Yeah.
Now he's doing okay. He's hitting the ball pretty good, and that just adds to the success of the Dodgers. If Jock Peterson can hit, that just takes the lull off the Pollocks and the other guys. And so.
Well, if Trout's going to be hitting second, you got to have somebody leading off that's going to get on base.
And that's the
And
thing.
you moved him. I'm sorry. And he
Yeah.
moved him down to what, the seventh spot?
Seventh
right?
spot,
And he's still not doing
Still
anything.
can't do it. And that's why, was it 3-4 years ago when he had his career year?
Right.
That's when I thought you should have just dumped him and gotten some prospects for him because mean, the last 2-3 years with Calhoun, I mean, it's been a joke.
So we have another month with Upton? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
or
it's one
is
more.
at least?
One more month.
Wow, it's disappointing.
I just hope they don't get too far behind before Otani and Upton.
Yeah.
They've got to split this. They got a big 2-game series coming up in Monterey over the weekend with Houston.
With
They got to get a
Houston.
split.
They got to split that, yeah.
They got to get a split out of there. All right, Clippers, I think, had a very encouraging season. Kudos to Doc Rivers. He pulled that team together, and they gave the Warriors, I think, a little bit more than what the Warriors thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was an impressive series. They lost, but I think they impressed a lot of people, and I think they impressed some free agents. There was an article in the Sunday Register. Mark Heisler, who's a NBA columnist, said there's a 50-50 shot that the Clippers could land Khalil.
Oh, Kawhi Leonard
and
Kyrie Irving? Yeah.
No,
Leonard
and Durant.
And Durant.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't hear that.
They're both pretty impressed with the way the Clippers are playing and the way they've come together this season. So
I don't know. I just don't see them. Look at it's a Laker town, right? I would say that I would probably want to go play with LeBron before I would go do that. But I just see guys like that going to New York or going to a bigger. Now again, don't get me wrong. I like what the Clippers are doing.
right.
I just don't know if guys that have that kind of stature want to come to L.A. or again, it's L.A. And they're all front runners, right? That if they did come and want to, play for Doc and help out this team, because it is a scrappy team, and that would just be huge, huge for them to do. Will the Clippers ever? Let's just say they get to the championship, right? Let's just say they did, right? They got the NBA champ. Would it still be a Clipper town, or would it be still a Laker town?
Good question.
I think it'll always be a Laker town.
It'd be all
Right,
Lakers
exactly. So here we are
Lakers
playing
have
for
too
the
much history.
second-tier team
Yeah.
all the time. Like, wait a second, I'm Kevin Durant. I've got national championship rings. Like, why we're better than LeBron's team with the Lake. Again, it's still a Laker town.
Yeah.
Like, but if they go to New York,
Yeah.
you're Wall Street's right down the street, man. You could own the town.
Some of these guys say too that they don't want, they don't want to play with LeBron.
Yeah.
They'd rather. Leonard has already said he'd rather play against LeBron,
Right.
Against LeBron, than play with him. But like you say,
but then you got Kyrie, who might want to leave Boston
Kyrie,
and
I
join
think it's a
KD
possibility.
I
and
think
go
he
to
would-
New York,
yeah, I think
right?
he'd go- yeah.
And then hopefully New York gets the
Zion.
Zion, right? Wow, watch out!
well, watch out for the fix now. Watch out for the fix at the little ball when the ball's
Right,
going
right,
around.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But I'll tell you right
Just
now,
like
because the
Patrick
NBA wants the New York Knicks to be a contender.
That's right.
Right? They want the Lakers to be a contender. They want the Bulls to be. They want all the major cities. They don't want Denver playing Portland in the final.
Exactly.
In the Western Final.
Yeah.
Right? They want Golden State.
Milwaukee.
Right?
Milwaukee,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
sure.
So they want. So there could be a little how these little ping pong
Well,
balls
Patrick
go.
Ewing, I still think that thing was a little
Yeah.
shady. How the Knicks miraculously became the number one
Yeah.
good pick to get him. But like to your point about the Laker town, same thing. The Angels could win 4 World Series in a row.
Oh, it'd always be a Dodger.
Still a
town.
Dodger town.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never going to.
And they did win. When they won, it was still a Dodger town, right? Yeah. So the Angels, the Clippers, the Ducks,
Yeah, same thing.
we're stepchilds.
Until
right?
we get one more cup. Until the Ducks get one more Stanley Cup, then it'll change.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be quite interesting, to be honest with you, when the season's over with and guys, where they want to go and what they want to do. So
I just think if you're a big-time free agent, though, and you saw how Doc got his team to play, how you had 3 rookies starting with that success, I think it's a win-win.
And I think
their owner wants to spend money.
Right, and I think he is one of the only coaches in the league that actually gets respect, and guys will listen to him. Right, I know that the Lakers are talking about Ty Lue, but is anybody gonna look at Ty Lue? I mean, and really listen to what he has. Doc is he's got the floor, you know, and you know he said like in his closing, you know, points to his team. He's like, I love to jump in the car and come to work and come to the gym. I can be dead honest with you and say there have been teams that I have coached in the past where it was a struggle to get in the car and come to the gym. You guys gave me everything. You gave me 110%. You did everything I asked you to do, and that's what I love about this sport, and that's what I love about being a coach. And he goes, I will coach you guys. I hope I get to coach you guys for the rest of my life. And they have a long-term deal going on right now. He's talking with you know, the ownership, about kind of locking him down for the rest of his career.
The thing too is that you know, they were, you know, all the I mean, after they got, you know, last year when Blake and Paul went. This year, right in the middle of the season, they traded Tobias Harris, who's their top scorer, and they just took off after that.
Right,
took right off.
Because we talked about it. You know, it's not like I always said. Whose team is this?
Yeah,
it's, you know, the Lakers. It's LeBron's team. You know, and I don't know. You can spit out some other players, right? For, you know, but there wasn't one guy's team. Like I kept on saying, like, who's going on the program tonight? Like it could have been anybody, right? It's back to that. Names in the hat, you know, and saying, yeah, you're going to go on the, you know, the program tonight. And that's what I think he loved about it is they were scrappy enough to where they played as a team.
And it was somebody new every night, too.
And again, it did narrow it down to, you know, a couple guys that were doing all the scoring, but still they worked as a team. And it wasn't like give the ball to LeBron and everybody just get to the side, right? I mean, they moved the ball around and so I don't know.
The Laker front office continues to be in their disappearing mode. Why are we having this kind of a delay on selecting a coach?
So I guess my comeback to that is there a time frame of when they should get a coach? I mean,
you should have them still drafted for sure.
Well, I mean, you still got playoff games going on, right? And you might be able to find one of these guys that, you know,
unless they're going for an assistant who's on a team that's in the playoffs.
Exactly, or they find a guy that says that it's a lower market, like a Denver coach or something like that, and say, hey, you know, well, come on down here to L.A. and we're going to pay double what you're getting there, and so. I think they're being patient. I don't think they should be making a quick move here and do that. So, obviously, if Ty Lue is not hired by now, they're not impressed.
Yeah, well, I can remember a couple of Cleveland games when Ty Lue had the on timeouts and he had the team around him on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and LeBron was walking the other way, and half the other guys were, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wouldn't hire Ty Lue because of LeBron. You know,
right.
Of course, that's a problem now. They have to please LeBron. You know, they say he's very disappointed. He was very discouraged when Magic left. He didn't like that one bit. And now you have to worry about, you know, you don't want to upset your superstar and get him you know, mad. So I don't know how much input or how much influence he has in the process, or how much he has Jeannie's ear. I still would like to see Pelinka go, but
I think that's got to be the first guy to go.
I don't think that's going to happen. I wish it would. I don't think it's going to happen. The playoffs are pretty interesting. You know, Boston coming up and beating Milwaukee in their opener of their series. Philadelphia beating Toronto in Toronto. Those series are even now, but
Portland 23, Denver 15. That's 250 in the first.
Okay.
Left, so it's just
so a lot of those series are, and even the Warriors games have been close. They've won them both, but I don't think Houston's going to come back and win that series now. I can't see the Warriors losing four out of the next 5 games.
It's the first time I've seen Mike Brown, is that his name, the defensive coach for Golden State?
Yeah,
I think it's Mike Brown, the
ex-Laker.
Yeah, like they are saying, we're not going to let Harden beat us. And they are not letting him come up to that three-point line. They're getting out on him, and they are distracting him, and they're letting – so there was a statistic that came up because, you know, Harden, you know, if he starts getting on a roll and shooting threes and you start fouling him, right, it could get
or
ugly,
if the whistle starts to blow.
Right. So I saw this statistic. Harden shot 101 3-pointers this year. I'm sorry. He was fouled on 101 3-pointers this year.
Wow.
The next guy to him was at 39.
Wow.
Right? So he's jumping into guys,
Yeah.
right? So they have figured out, like, we're not even going to give him the opportunity to shoot the three-pointer. And they're coming out on him and distracting him, and he's trying to maneuver the ball, and get the ball to somebody else, and letting Paul kind of doing his thing. But that's what – and then he got slammed in the eye last night, so his vision was off a little bit. But, they did let him get into that game late. But I have a feeling if you can really guard him on the three-point line – he doesn't really want to drive too much, but it's almost like, we'll give him 2, let's not give him 3. And so I think they've done it. I think Mike Brown's done a great job on scheming this whole first 2 games.
He always was a defensive. That was his strength.
Yeah.
That was his strength.
So
the LAFC and Galaxy are still dominating the MLS. Both of them right at the top. The Galaxy 22 points, the LAFC 23 points. By far and away the top 2 teams in the league, and I can't wait. They meet on July 7th.
Oh, do they?
Again, on August 25th. Can't wait to see those games. They're going to be
those are going to be big games.
Big games. Carlos Vela.
Yeah.
I got them a tie in their last win, and got them a tie.
I watched a little bit of the game against Seattle at home, and it was exciting. It was electric. Yeah. So they're both of them are playing, and it's a nice gap. I think LAFC is like at 23 points, and I think Galaxy is at like 21 or 20, and the next one's at like 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Like it's a good gap actually.
Yeah.
So
they're both playing well. They're both packing their soccer made for soccer stadiums.
Right.
In fact, I think the Galaxy probably draw the Clippers a couple of times.
Yeah.
Probably. And Angels, too.
Yeah.
The NHL playoffs, another exciting. All the teams that aren't supposed to win are winning.
Jake's a big hockey guy, but I mean, there's nothing like Game 6s and 7s.
Nothing like Game 6s and 7s. I was talking to a buddy today about it, and, it's not any fun when your team's not in it, but just as a hockey fan, this has been probably one of the best playoffs that I remember in a while. I mean, all the Game 7s. I mean, you got a team like Carolina up, 2-0 against the Islanders.
And they just went up 3-2 against the Islanders.
Here we go.
No, they're not. Sorry, in the game. They're up 3-2 with 7:20 left in the third.
Yeah. I mean, and then you got Columbus, beating
Columbus,
Boston yesterday.
yeah.
I mean, that was it's the one time in the NHL. I mean, NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup's the hardest thing to win, but I feel like for this year, any team honestly could win it. Like, there's no clear-cut favorite anymore. I mean, it is, and whoever does win it, I mean, I tip your cap to. I mean, because it's just been a hell of a playoff series.
It's been a great series.
Great series.
This Colorado San Jose series is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Colorado's, they're scary.
Yeah.
They're they got a lot of young talent, a lot of good shooters.
I'm sure these suits would just love to see Columbus and Carolina in the East
seriously.
Final.
That'd be horrible. Be great for fans, but
By the way, it could happen.
It could happen.
Oh, it could.
Yeah.
I mean, what's crazy about it is, you've got the team who. What did Tampa only lose? 9?
Tampa had they 9
and they
or 10
get
losses.
swept.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just telling you that this. I mean, it's who's hot that's going in.
That's right.
Colorado was like almost in last place right after
They had a battle to get in.
They had to win
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, they had to win like 4 games.
And now it's like it's the team to possibly beat.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, San Jose's holding their own against them, but could go 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I mean, it could.
Yeah.
And you just once you get into Game 7, you just never know what's going to go
the
on.
Nashville.
I mean, these whistles are in the third row. Like you don't see the whistles at all. It's amazing how fast the games go.
It is
because they're not blowing penalties, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Nashville's out, Tampa's out, Washington,
all the
Pittsburgh,
big boys.
all the big. I mean, no Canadian teams again.
Yeah.
Which
right, Toronto lost to Boston.
Toronto lost. I mean, the Dallas Blues series has been,
Cogliano's over there.
I know. Yeah. Glad he scored. So I mean, as a fan, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah. And it's almost I shouldn't say it's more fun, but when you're not watching your
It's less
team.
stressful. Yeah.
Less stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a thrilling series. Just a quick mention of Ryan Jordan replacing the soccer coach at UCLA, Jorge
Salcedo.
who was involved in that.
Yeah.
This guy brought the Pacific program back from the dead, got him into the NC2A, my alma mater, by the way. I'm glad to see him get that job, and I think it's a great move for UCLA. Great move for UCLA soccer. They had to do something. And
They've always been a strong
Yeah.
Pac-12 soccer program. Where was Ryden from? Or where did he come from?
Who's that?
Ryan Jordan.
Pacific.
Pacific. Okay, University of Pacific. All right.
Let's get to the. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's get to the Derby.
All right.
Big Derby coming up. I know you guys are both well versed in the ponies.
Jake's picks will come out. Jake's hot picks.
Yeah.
You can buy those at the OC Tavern.
Just give me a voucher. $3 voucher.
I'll start it off. I think this might want. I know you're gonna. First of all, Omaha Beach is now been scratched. Who was
Right.
your favorite, right? The morning line favorite. Did you hear why?
Yeah, it was something in his throat. It was basically
Really?
a sore throat. It was just got inflamed.
Can't give him a cough drop.
Can't give him a cough drop. No.
Jeez,
I
things have
know.
changed,
I
haven't
know.
they?
They're getting horse racing's getting soft.
Well, you're on Lasix. Take a
I
cough
know,
drop, right?
seriously.
So, Game Winner has just become your 9-2 favorite. But I think this might be the most open Derby. First of all, it's supposed to be a 80% chance of showers.
That's
So-
always good.
Yeah.
And what's new? It's like it's either raining or absolutely a postcard, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's supposed to be off and on pretty much for 2 days straight. So it's supposed to rain on Friday when there's big races on Friday also.
The Kentucky Oaks.
It's Kentucky Oats, correct? Yeah. So it's hard for me to say, here's my top 5 because Omaha Beach was I think a strong contender in this race. Now I have to look at it a little bit. I mean, there's a couple horses that pop up. Maximum Security is a horse that I've looked at a little bit. He's the Florida Derby winner. Again, you have Baffert's got 3 horses in there that are contenders. There's a long shot late in the here called Country House.
Country Houses.
He's a closer. But I still now have to do some more research on this because I think you could get a 15 to 21 shot to win this thing, and you never hear from this horse ever again. It's
Right.
like the horse that could win this thing that could be a 15 to 21 shot. I mean, you've actually got to go now and say, have any of these horses ever run in the mud? Right, that's a key thing. Like some of these horses don't. Yeah, exactly. He won his race in the mud, but then that's why he was probably the
that's
favorite,
clear
right?
cut. Oh,
And he
yeah.
had Mike Smith on him, right? But some of these horses don't like to get mud kicked in their face, and they're not gonna. You're gonna ask it to run, and it's not gonna be able to run. So I got to do some more research on this, and I'll tell you right now, I don't see a Triple Crown winner. I'll tell you that much. That's my prediction on the Kentucky Derby. There's not going to be a Triple Crown winner. I think it could.
Well, how can you say that when it happens every year?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because I think the favorite has actually won the last 5 derbies,
And
right?
this is, I think, the one year too. I'll even do a hot take. I think this is gonna be the first year where a long shot actually wins.
Yeah.
I don't see any favorites winning really because I mean Roadster's going to be my pick. He's a closer. He won the Santa
He's
Anita
5
Derby.
to 1 right now.
And he'll have. I think he's got Pratt on him.
Was Improbable the one who lost to Omaha?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 5 to 1.
Another Baffert horse.
And then Game Winner lost a Roadster
Right.
for the Derby, Santa Anita Derby. So that's where I'm kind of going more towards Roadster and then Country House, I think.
I mean, you
for
get 24 roughly
Yeah.
around 23 horses that are running this thing. I mean, it's a stampede. So it's all about
Especially horrible
it's
weather,
all
too.
about these guys that take off and then they try to get back and get in. And we've seen the horses just kind of sit there. And I know that it's the horses You don't want to have your horse go to the lead. You want to have your horse sit in the second, third, or fourth spot and be comfortable and be able to have that kick in the end. I don't think the last horses that were in the 1, 2, 3, or 4 spot have won the Derby.
No.
So now that's where Maximum Security's in the 7 spot.
Yeah.
So he's kind of not on the rail. He's kind of off.
Who's on the rail? Have you had the draw yet?
I didn't see the actual draw.
I saw it,
but I know that. Let's just say I don't like him.
No.
Who's ever there?
Yeah.
Because it's a bad. I mean,
That's
and
a
then
bad spot.
you had Omaha Beach get the perfect draw.
Oh, yeah.
He was the 12 spot.
12 spot.
Oh,
It's right in the middle of it
where do you
all.
wanna
It's
be?
like perfect, right?
Yeah.
So Mike gets him out, sore throat or nothing.
Yeah, he's gone.
And then slides him into that second or third spot and just kind of works it around, rests him, and then lets him go. And that's why those odds came out at 4-1 like that, because they got a great draw too.
Mm-hmm.
So this one that we talked about, that country house, is a horse that comes from behind. So that's a horse that I kind of like to put in the exotic or whatever, that's going to come up and get that maybe second or third spot, or he might be able. But I got to look and see if he's ever run in the mud.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't, because he's going to be in the 20 spot. He's going to have to break and come and slide in behind.
Right.
It's a lot of horses you get now. It's like a maneuver, and that's where guys like DeSormo have just been so good in bringing these horses in the mud or whatever, because he just knows when to shoot a gap or when to take advantage of a hole, and that's, how many times you feel like you got the horse. You're like, I got this horse. He's got plenty, and that he can't get through
One bad
because
break,
it's like
yeah.
the I-5-405 at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. The other one little quick one too, whatever horse Joel Rosario's on, he's been one of the hottest jockeys this whole year. I would put him either to win across the board on or do a trifecta on, because he has been, I think he had the most wins at was it at Keeneland this year? Then he came over to Santa Anita and just won that meet. So that'd be something I would keep my eye on, as whatever. I forgot what horse Rosario's on, but it's on at like a 6-1, I think.
So he's going to be on one of
the
Baffert horses.
Baffert
right?
horses,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got three. He's got 3 of them there. All right, John. Any minor league golf going on this week?
No, it's just the Wyndham in North Carolina. They're all prepping for the PGA Championship has been changed from September now to, I think it's in next week or 2 weeks from now.
Oh, really?
And that's going to be in upstate New York. It is going to be crazy. It's at Bethpage Black, where last time they had a tournament there, it was a guy named Tiger Woods, won the Open. And it's a New York crowd, and it's going to be insanely loud. And so it should be really exciting. But guys like Tiger are not even playing the next couple of weeks. They're just prepping strictly for that tournament.
Yeah.
Some of the guys will play, like, Ricky, and some of the guys have had success here. Like Ricky's won here before, so they're going off. So I think Ricky plays, like a guy like Ricky, who is a guy that would prep for a major, right? Because he's in everything. He's playing this week. Then he'll take next week off, and then he'll play.
Yeah, you said they would.
So,
probably do that.
but Tiger's not playing in the next 2. I think Rory plays this week because he's had success there. Takes the next week off, and then so a lot of these guys can jump on these jets, right? So they'll go out and play their practice rounds. Some of them on next Wednesday and Thursday, they just might fly up and play around, get their yardages, do it, and they got the whole golf course to themselves.
Right.
And doing that. That's what Tiger did at the Masters. He went out the Wednesday before, flew up there the week before, and he grabbed a wedge and a couple wedges and a putter and walked around the whole entire golf course on where, if he hit it in the trees or whatever, and he had to lay out or where lay up, and if he had to miss it, where would he have to get it up and down, and he just did his homework, and that's what I think he opened his eyes on, how to play these majors, and that's getting there a week before and doing some homework, and because usually, the week of the tournament, you got media obligations, and you got to do press conferences and a lot of distractions. Yeah. I only play 9 holes, that kind of stuff, and you got groups behind you, you got groups in front of you, so it's not like you can really kind of take your time on a hole and break it down. And
right.
So I think it's smart.
Oh yeah.
So you'll handicap that for us.
Yeah. I'll handicap the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
Proper time.
Yeah. So.
Well, I don't have anything else. You guys.
No.
I got one thing. I know it's the playoff, hockey playoffs. The one thing that I'm a little annoyed with the Ducks is why is it taking so long to get a head coach? If it's going to be Eakin from San Diego, let's just sign him.
They're drinking the same thing the Lakers are drinking.
Seriously. Like, I was just kind of thinking that. I'm like, why are we taking so long?
I don't even know. Are they? You can't hear the game.
They're out of the.
Can't even hear the games anymore. The station's gone off the air, so you can't even hear.
No, and I think they're out of the.
Are they out of the?
Yeah.
Well,
then there shouldn't be any holdup at all.
So it's kind of like, let's, because I know, Terry's out. He'll be back for, I think, when they start training camp. But it's like, you see the Kings getting McClellan, which is going to be a good pickup for them.
Yeah.
It's like, let's start kind of moving, getting closer to hockey. I mean, it's not getting closer to hockey.
Well,
let's start going in the right direction.
I think it's just shy of Labor Day weekend is when those guys have to go back and to camp.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's just before Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, they're like the Lakers. They just can't.
Yeah.
They know who.
So,
they know who the coach is going to be. Yeah. But they just can't hire.
Let's just sign it, get it done, and start looking forward to next year. And that's kind of one thing that kind of bugged me. It's like, well, if Eakin's not our guy, why do we pass on so many of these other good coaches?
And that's the San Diego coach.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well, I would say if you, like you said with Ty Lue, if he was their guy, why hasn't he been hired?
Yeah.
Who are they looking at?
There's a part of me that Genie doesn't want to bring in what LeBron. I don't. Because if I'm going to bring in a coach, it sounds like, and LeBron's only here for a couple of years, I got to go do this all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when LeBron leaves, this guy's not going to be my coach, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a little fishy, but again, a part of me now the Ducks is a totally different story. But I think. I'm okay with them being patient, so they could try to bring in the right guy. With the Ducks situation, I think you need to give it to this guy, unless there's a bench coach somewhere on one of these hockey
playoff teams.
Playoff teams, kind of exactly how the Vegas Knights got their coach from Edmonton, right? He was an unreal bench coach, and they're like, this guy should be a head coach. Well, maybe that's the research they're doing there might be a bench coach out there that deserves to be a head coach. So again, if that's the case, I have no problem being patient, right?
Because to your point too, now I'm kind of thinking about it. The Red Wings kind of did the same thing that the Ducks are thinking about doing, is just hiring from within. We'll just bring the guy up, and the guy that's the Red Wings coach now has had a horrible last 2-3 years. He'll have a better year this year because all the young guys are getting more mature, but. It's kind of a good point. I didn't really think about that. It's like maybe they are looking for, in this kind of postseason to see maybe there is a bench coach, because anybody better than Carlisle is fine with me.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a guy in Carolina, or, there's maybe a guy in Columbus or whatever,
Yeah.
So
I would say that's a pretty good chance of that happening. All right. If that's it, we are done and we are out.
Peace.